Hello, I'm Adam Brooks Weber. This is The Merry Mystic, and I'm glad you're here. Today I'm in another one of my favorite places on Earth. This is the top of West Rattlesnake Peak in New Hampshire. I'm at the end of a bridle trail, which is probably the most hiked trail in all of New Hampshire. It's a moderate mile from the trailhead, and it brings you to this incredible view. Below us is Squam Lake, and beyond Squam in the distance you can see beyond Center Harbor to Winnipesaukee and the White Mountain Range. I'm going to pan the camera around a little so you can see where we are. I wanted to bring you here this morning because this is one of the places where I feel most strongly the presence of God in nature. I mentioned last week that I made the pilgrimage to Iona in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland. I've studied the Celtic traditions of Christianity, partly because it's my own heritage. My mother's parents were both immigrants from Scotland, but partly because it has this wonderful emphasis on the presence of God in all nature. In the late 1800s, a folklorist named Alexander Carmichael traveled in the rural and Scots Gaelic-speaking parts of Scotland and wrote down the folk traditions, the hymns, the prayers, the incantations, the charms that country people used in their daily lives. He collected them into 6 volumes. It's called the Carmina Gadelica, with the translations into a kind of flowery Victorian English, and they're fascinating reading. These people didn't think of prayer as something that you do in church particularly. They thought of prayer as something that you do all the time. And they had little prayers for every imaginable mundane occasion. They had a prayer for wakening the fire in the morning and for smothering the fire at night. They had prayers for milking and shearing and weaving and spinning. They had prayers for the first sight of the sun in the morning and for the first sight of the moon at night. These are short little poems of prayer, not taught in church and not written in books until Carmichael wrote them down, but passed on from parents to children. And through this prayer practice, their lives became much more sacramental than most of ours are today. Every mundane occasion might be a sacrament for them. Every morsel of food might be like a communion. Every drop of water on the face might be like a baptism. And they saw God's presence in all of nature. And I don't want to over-romanticize. They had hard lives, harder than most of ours are today. But I believe that through this practice of constant prayer, they were able to remember that God is all around us, all the time. And here I am able to remember it more easily. Here I can hear God singing in the trees, in the rocks, in the waters, and the fish in the waters. They're all sort of singing a great song of rejoicing and inviting me to join in. In volume 3 of the Carmina Gadelica, Alexander Carmichael reports visiting an old woman named Catherine MacLennan. And she remembered how, when she was a little girl, her own mother had taught her to pray. This is what she told him. My mother would be asking us to sing our morning song to God down in the back house, as Mary's lark was singing it up in the clouds, and as Christ's mavis was singing it yonder in the tree, giving glory to the God of the creatures for the repose of the night, and for the light of the day, and for the joy of life. She would tell us that every creature on earth here below, and in the ocean beneath, and in the air above, was giving glory to the great God of the creatures and the worlds, of the virtues and the blessings, and would we be dumb? And so it is. Anywhere, but especially in places like this, we can hear the great song of praise, the great song of rejoicing, going on in nature all around us. Perhaps it's the same song that Isaiah was writing about when he wrote, I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, for my soul shall exult in my God. For he has clothed me in the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. Then as the earth brings forth its fruit, and as a garden causes what is sown in it to spring up, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. I'm so glad you were able to join me here today, one of my favorite places on earth. Hey, if you're watching this video anywhere but on adambrooksweber.com, please go over there. You can leave a comment. Tell me, where do you find God in nature? And you can sign up to receive the Merry Mystic every week. I would leave you with my customary closing blessing, but I think, considering the great song of rejoicing now going on all around us, I'll just step out of the frame here and let you receive the blessing for yourself. Bye now.